Growing outrage in Pennsylvania after a woman was allegedly raped on a public train, and authorities say none of her fellow passengers did anything to help.
Nobody said nothing. Nobody did anything. That's ridiculous.
It's disgusting.
That's awful. What's wrong with people?
The alleged rape occurred last week on board an Upper Darby-bound train. Police say surveillance video shows other riders in the train car during the attack who did nothing.
It's disturbing that there were definitely people on the L, and no one intervened or did anything to help this woman out.
According to the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, it wasn't until a train employee saw what was happening and called police that help arrived. Officials say transit officers caught the man in the act and arrested him.
This is why we had this male in custody. If they weren't present there, that male would have walked off, and who knows, we would have found him.
35-year-old Fiston Inouye is now in jail, charged with rape and assault. The alleged victim, who police say did not know the attacker, was treated at a nearby hospital and is doing okay, according to police. The transit authority saying the attack may not have gone on as long had a bystander taken action. Writing in a statement, there were other people on the train who witnessed this horrific act, and it may have been stopped sooner if a rider called 911. A spokesperson for the transit line urging anyone who witnesses an emergency on board to call 911 immediately. A reminder many riders aren't taking lightly.
We just need to know that if we were in that position, we want someone to help.
If you see something, say something.
Outrage growing after a brutal rape of a woman on a train outside Philadelphia. Police say other commuters took out their phones and recorded it instead of calling 911. The victim was reportedly harassed for over 40 minutes and traveled 27 stops before the suspect was arrested. The other passengers who did nothing could reportedly be charged. And as you can imagine, local authorities are furious.
People were holding their phone up in the direction of this woman being attacked. What we want everyone to be is angry, disgusted, and join us in being resolute to continue to make the system safe. When they see inappropriate behavior that you wouldn't want your 10-year-old to see, call the police. Call 911.
The details of the story get even worse. The suspect is an illegal immigrant with a very long rap sheet. He overstayed a student visa and then racked up multiple arrests and 2 misdemeanor convictions, including pleading guilty to a sexual abuse misdemeanor in 2017. He was then put in immigration detention in 2018, but was never deported.
We're going to begin with a terrifying video from the Bronx. A woman arriving home from a day at work early in the morning, followed by a stranger into her building. She gets inside and slams the door just in time.
It happened about 2 weeks ago in the Concourse Village section of the Bronx. The NYPD trying to find this guy.
This video is creepy for anyone coming home, whether it's day or night. But this woman tells me that she knew something was up as she approached her building at 2 in the morning. She saw the guy from the corner of her eye, but she was not expecting him to come into the building and then try to barge into her apartment. The video is terrifying. It was just a matter of seconds.
He was literally like 1 second from going inside.
Today, this brave woman, still shaking, finding the courage to speak out about that day as she arrived home from work around 2 in the morning.
There was two guys like outside, right? And they were just like looking suspicious.
You see her walking into the building, cautiously eyeing a man on the side. Seconds later, that same man in the white tank top walks into the Sherman Avenue building behind her. She knew he was up to no good.
He followed me inside the building and he said miss twice.
She describes the horrifying moment seen in this video as the suspect accesses the lobby. Seconds later, the woman knew he was around the corner and she quickly tried to open her apartment lock. Her instincts spot on. He came right after her, determined to get inside.
Papi, open up the door, bro. I came inside and then right away I just screamed, somebody's following me. Like he was literally 1 second from coming inside.
As she watches this video, she knows she was very lucky.
I feel very scared. Like I was saying, what if I had the top door locked? What if, like, it was literally just 1 second. If I had the top lock, He could have gotten me.
Now, on the man who chased a Bronx woman into her apartment building last week, police say they arrested Orisha Lucky, who has an extensive criminal record with 37 prior arrests. NYPD detectives posted on social media the 41-year-old suspect was found thanks to a tip. Lucky now charged with attempted burglary, harassment, and criminal trespassing.
Police are looking for this man. They say he brutally raped a 70-year-old woman at gunpoint. Barbershop owner Sylvester Ingram knows the victim.
She's a sweet lady. I see her walk past all the time. She never messes with nobody or does nothing like that. She's just a sweet old lady that comes out here, I guess, to take care of her business and go back in the house.
The woman was entering her apartment building here in the Belmont section of the Bronx around 2 in the morning last week when the suspect you see in this surveillance video approached her from behind. Police say he pulled out a gun and forced the victim into a stairwell where he sexually assaulted her.
The guy that did it looked like he was a really young man, so I think he might have mental problems. Mental health in America needs to be addressed.
After the assault, the suspect is seen casually walking out of the building. The victim was so shaken, sources tell us she locked herself inside her apartment and only told a nurse about the attack at a routine doctor's appointment days later.
Morning, and surveillance video police want you to see. It shows an attempted abduction in Fort Lauderdale. You see a woman walking, then suddenly she is attacked by a man.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale police have been working on this for about a month now, but they've hit a roadblock and now they need your help. To give you an idea where we are, Cheesecake Factory is on one side of the block. We are on the north side of Los Olas, and the 600 block, the 500 block being over here. This is where the assault happened.
Women on Los Olas Boulevard are worried, and they have good reason to be. Just before 6 a.m. back on Thursday, September 9th, Fort Lauderdale police say this predator, still on the loose, was caught on surveillance cameras seeking out his prey. This unsuspecting woman, dressed in all black and white sneakers and carrying a backpack, completely unaware she was being followed. Her stalker closing the distance as he breaks into a light jog. A frightening scene, and precisely why these women say they always make sure they're not alone when the sun is down.
I'm never alone at night because I know it gets dangerous sometimes, especially in this area.
The unaware woman making her way through this alley next to a construction site near the 500 block of East Los Olas Boulevard. The attacker finally catching up to his unsuspecting victim. Police describe what happened next, and it's disturbing.
He runs up behind her and grabs her. He chokes her, throws her to the ground, and starts to fight with her. She attempts to call for help, kind of fight back. He tries to grab her legs.
Luckily, a Good Samaritan nearby saw what was happening, thwarting a potential heinous crime. The attacker retreating to his bicycle before taking off on 2 wheels. Police describe him as a tall black male in his 30s with short hair, wearing no shirt, just dark pants and white sneakers. Police are fearful he may have attacked before or could strike again, prompting this woman to reconsider defending herself.
Police arrest a masked man who they say broke into the homes of 2 different women.
Yeah, these women waking up to find the man near their beds.
Home security cameras in this energy corridor subdivision captures a burglary suspect walking the neighborhood just after 2 a.m. This camera caught a close-up glimpse of him as he unsuccessfully tries to open a locked gate. Barbara Messier owns one of the cameras.
It was a major shock to hear this on the news this morning, and then to actually see, I've got 2 videos of him.
Houston police say the suspect made his way into a home on Kingsridge Lane and into the bedroom of a 68-year-old woman. They say she woke up to him holding her phone and she screamed for him to leave. She then called police. 20 minutes later, a 38-year-old woman on Norman's Wood Street woke up to the sound of a police helicopter. The suspect was standing in front of her bed, repeatedly asking for sex and attempted to get on top of her, according to police. Officers say when the victim told him her husband would be home soon, the man leaves. Police say while trying to exit the gated community, the suspect asked officers how to get out. He was taken into custody. Neighbors, mostly women today, say this is a huge concern.
I have cameras, a burglar system, and burglar fence and everything. That's the problem. We all feel so safe, but we don't now.
That's always what I'm scared of, and that's why because he doesn't, freak out every time he hears something, but I do. And I guess that's always my worst fear. And
I didn't give him permission to touch me.
He invaded.
He invaded my privacy.
Big questions tonight for the Indianapolis Housing Agency after surveillance cameras capture a horrific assault.
Yeah, police are looking for a suspect who allegedly tried to sexually assault a woman in her own apartment building.
I'm terrified.
After experiencing such a traumatic situation, WRTV has decided to conceal this woman's identity. The incident occurred at the John J. Barton Annex Apartments downtown, which is an Indianapolis Housing Agency property. She was taking the elevator downstairs one night to visit with her son when you see a young man follow behind her.
When I was trying to get off the elevator, he just grabbed a hold of my shirt.
She says the man told her he wanted her. She denied him. He then continued to pull on her clothes and touch her, she says, and a struggle ensued.
And that's when I slapped him across his face, and then he slapped me.
Thankfully, the woman was able to fight him off enough before others heard and the suspect ran away. But the sheer fear of what happened, she says, sticks with her.
They invaded me. I don't bother nobody. I'm a good person. I try to be good to everybody. But I don't know who to trust anymore.
An IHA property. The people who live in this building are mostly elderly or disabled.
I'm like 58 years old. It's terrifying. I'm very terrified when every time it could be any floor.
Some of the most vulnerable among us.
I don't feel safe here.
Have you seen the video?
Yes, and it was quite startling.
The IHA executive director, John Hall, says police are investigating. It's unclear if the suspect was a guest of another tenant or an unauthorized person in the building. They still have not caught him.
What steps are you taking to ensure this doesn't happen again?
Right. So it's about awareness. You know, we want all of our residents to always be aware of their surroundings. And in this incident, the tenant was aware, and she, you know, gave a really good fight for it. But what we've done, even prior to this incident, we've noticed an uptick in just incidents, criminal incidents happening just around our property and in our buildings with security breaches.
Searched public records and found at least 11 police reports have been filed so far this year at the John J. Barton Annex Apartments. In 2020, at least 16 reports were filed for disturbance there, ranging from theft, battery, incidents involving a weapon. Hall says because of this, they have tripled their amount of off-duty police officers to increase security.
We did submit a grant to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for security measures. Unfortunately, we were not successful. We just got that notification this week. But regardless of the resources, additional resources not being there, I will use every dollar, every resource that I have within my budget and toolkit to create an opportunity for the property to be successful.
Saying he has zero tolerance for what happened to this resident and is working to create a safer environment.
Police in New York are looking for this man. They say sexually assaulted a woman in Brooklyn at knife point. Police say it happened around 4:30 Monday morning at Malcolm X Boulevard and Kosciuszko Street. According to police, the 26-year-old woman was arriving at the building when a man approached her from behind and said, quote, "Let me in the building." Police say she refused, and then the man pulled the box cutter knife, forced her into her apartment, and sexually assaulted her. Police also say he stole her iPhone and $200 worth of jewelry before taking off. Anyone with any information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-577